Hi, I'm Tony.
And I'm John.
And this is Asterikast. Okay, and welcome to episode 3 of Asterikast. It's been a while since we've gotten an episode out, but we have real lives, and we don't get paid for this. So, I'm going to go over the show notes with you real quick here. John has been so kind as to type them up this time and put them up on our site, which will probably be changing again, not anytime soon, because I don't have any time soon. But today we're going to cover two different things. We're going to start out by covering Asterisk AGIs, which is an Asterisk Gateway Interface. You can write these in many different languages. We're going to do ours in Perl today. You can do them in Java and PHP.
You can do them in pretty much any language.
On our show notes, we have two different ones we have listed. One's called call check. That actually checks a number against the database, and based on what your phone number is, it then corresponds to what is supposed to continue from that point on, what occurrences occur after the number's checked. We're going to do another one, which we're actually going to type up and do as an example here, which is a password one, which pretty much is the same idea, except it checks against the password, and if password equals true, then it goes on one thing. If it fails, it goes on to somewhere else. We're actually going to run a menu system interface with this as well. And then the big news of the whole day of our show is going to be the free G729 codec from Intel. So we're going to get into that. We're not going to delve into the legality of it. It is free as long as you're not making money off of it. Now, we're not making money off the show, so we can download it, we can use it, and show it to you all. If you want to send us some money, though, for other reasons.
Yeah, we'll take away the G729 codec.
Yeah, we'll take it away if you want to send us money.
No problem.
Yeah. Uninstall immediately. So we're going to get started here real quick. John, why don't you give them a quick overview a little bit more about what an AGI script is?
Okay, so basically, using the Asterisk Gateway interface, we can talk back to Asterisk during a call. So basically, in your priority list, one of your things that you can do is call an AGI script and feed back information back into Asterisk. So, for example, in our password check script, the user will type a phone number in, or type a password into their phone. The password then gets sent to the AGI script. The AGI script sends back a variable that's called allowed. Allowed is either equal to true or false. If allowed is equal to false, it goes to some place, probably asking them to re-enter their password. True will take them somewhere else. In our case, the menuing system. Alright, so the best way to explain this is probably just get started.
Yeah.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and download the AGI, what I like to call the AGI connector. What it does is it Perl to talk to Asterisk. So I've already got it on my clipboard, so I should just be able to paste it right in there. So put WGet in front of it. 0.08 is the latest version.
As of this recording.
As of this recording, and it hasn't been changed in like 2 years, so you're probably going to be okay. So it's going to download. simple to extract, just like that. And then you go into the Asterisk directory, or the Asterisk Perl directory. That's a simple perl makefile.pl. Type make, which make actually installs it for you, but just follow along with the rest of any of our other things. We did a make install. Alright, and I've already created a test application, which I'll just show you. Test to make sure the AGI was installed correctly. All this application does is includes the Asterisk AGI into this Perl program. Creates a new variable with the AGI, reads any input that gets passed to it, which doesn't really matter because there's no input getting passed to it. And then it goes and sets a variable called action to go. Basically, this doesn't do a single thing. It would do nothing for you if you actually got it into the Asterisk application unless you did something with the variable called action. So, but we can test it on the command line just to make sure that everything works okay. So we just do that by, the first thing we do is a change mod plus x test.pl. Make sure that when inside of your test PL, that when you've included, the first line of your application is a hash followed by a bang and user bin perl. What that verifies is that that your interpreter knows what to do. So when you set it executable, you can execute it like a real application. So we're going to go ahead and run it. It sits there and waits for input, or checks the input. Hit enter. It says, you can see that it sets a variable called action to go, and the application finishes. So what we need to do next, since we're going to write our password application, is create a database for it. So we do MySQL for this, and I'm hoping that you guys have MySQL already installed with the password. If not, there are docs, I believe, in the rc.mysqld located in etcrc.d that Patrick wrote about how to install MySQL correctly on a Slackware box. Alright, so I'm in. So I'm going to go ahead and create database. And most of the time when you log in, instead of being user of John, you'll probably be root or something similar.
But he's on my box.
But I'm on Tony's box and I need to create myself an account.
So.
Alright, create database, follow routing. And we can see from our show notes here that call routing is the name of the database, and I'll show you this in a second. So then we're going to use call routing. Before we do anything, let's just go ahead and grant all privileges on call routing .star to call router at localhost identified by call router.
And for people that don't feel comfortable using this in the long run, there is an application out there called MySQL Administrator. It's for Windows and Linux. I'm not sure if it's for Mac or not. But and then you also install a query browser as well, which you can log from mysql.com, and it's all a graphical interface. So I'm not too keen on doing it this way because I don't know what the hell I'm doing all the time. So I use the graphical interface on it.
Apparently, I don't have access to grant that user privilege. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Tony log in as root here. Normally, you can do these steps consecutively, but I guess that we can't.
I think I'm logging my own.
All right.
Okay.
So use call. Okay. I already got the green syntax in there. Yeah, that's the one I closed up. So there's my password. There's our call routing syntax. Grant all privileges on call routing.star to call router at localhost identified by call router. Boom. Alright, so basically that gives that user full access to that database. Alright, so now we need to create our database table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say create table let's call it passwords. We're going to say ID int 11, comma, auto increment. It's a this field cannot be null. And we're going to say password. We're going to call that a varchar. Make that up to 255 characters. We need to set the primary key as ID. Okay, so now we can do explain. I can see that we've got two fields in there, one called ID and one called password. So then we go ahead and we say insert into passwords. Or then we got to tell what field, because we're not inserting anything into ID. We're letting MySQL do that for us. Values. We're going to make our password be 234. Alright, so now if we do a select star from passwords, we'll see that we have an ID of 1 and a password of 1234. If you were to insert another record similar to 1238, you'll see that the increment field went up by 2. This does nothing more than simply gives it a primary key value, something that you could
a unique identifier at all times, so it'll never reproduce the same identifier. So you can always call it.
Alright, so I've already copied in our password application from the website. I did notice an error in what I had posted. I didn't test what I posted before I posted it. I forgot to put the bang after the pound sign. Other than that, this should work perfect. Now let me just give you a quick rundown on what we do here. Use DBI tells Perl to be able to use the Asterisk, or not the Asterisk, the MySQL interface. The use Asterisk AGI tells it to use the Asterisk modules. This sets a new variable into Asterisk. You're basically going to use all of these lines right here in any one of your Asterisk AGI applications, because that's just the way it works. You basically, this line here you're going to always need, this line here you're going to always need, this line here you're always going to need. You may not use DBI because you might not use the database interface, but basically this is what you have to use. So now we get into our database stuff. What I've done here is I've got this line here. I've got to create I've got a syntax to connect to my database. I can think. Basically, I'm connected to a MySQL database called call routing with the username of call router and the password of call router. Pretty simple. What I've done here is I've created a line that actually counts the number of arguments that get passed to passwordcheck.pl. If the arguments are less than 1, then I automatically don't even query the database, and I say I set the variable called allow defaults, because we're looking for a password. Asterisk didn't provide us with the password, which means the user probably just pressed the pound key. Okay. Next thing I do is I take the password and I just make a variable so it's easier to work with inside the application called $pass. See the very first argument value that was passed in the array. Okay. The next thing I do is actually my SQL query. I select the count from passwords where password is equal to $pass. Pretty straightforward query. The next thing I do is I tell Perl to prepare the SQL statement, then I tell Perl to execute the statement. Alright. The next line, I set the variable called count to absolutely nothing. So that way it's been initialized, we can use it later, and it'll work. Then we have a while statement to actually go and grab that count variable out of... Basically, when you do this query, it's only going to return one row every time. I still put it in the while query, so that way I can grab the first element of the query, which it only ever returns one thing. Then, if the count is greater than 0, then I set the variable true. It's meaning there was at least one record that would have been returned. If it's 0, then I say false, because that means they weren't authenticated. Let's go ahead and test this application. Oh, and first and foremost. Alright, so we go ahead and we run password check.pl. Let's run it with nothing. We pass no variable. It automatically set the allowed variable to false. It didn't even hit MySQL. And one thing it did was it connected to the SQL database, because that's how we put the program in. Now let's pass 1234 as my password. Okay, it set my variable allowed to true because that's a password that's in the database. But if I was to do 1239, which is not in the database, it should pass a false.
Which it does.
Which it does. So let's actually use this in a real world Asterisk extension. So if we just edit our extensions.conf, we've already got some things in here. And basically, we're going to create a new context called check password. And flip my show notes here so that way I get. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say extend 700. I'm going to go ahead and background the sound. And I'm going to say, please enter your, which is a canned Allison Smith that says, please enter your. And then I'm going to go, and I'm going to introduce something new here. I don't think we've used this yet. It's the read command, and what the read command does is it allows us to play a sound, and then it allows us to set a variable, and we're going to set a variable called pass. So basically what Allison's going to do is say, please enter your password, and just sit there and wait. And it waits for a designated number of timeout seconds before it falls into the timeout context, which we're not going to worry about, we're not going to teach you about today. But basically what it'll do is hang up. Okay? Extend 700, 100, 3. And then what we're going to do is actually run our AGI script after they've after they've entered their password and followed it with the pound key. So in order to do that, we're going to do AGI comma slash root slash, I forgot where it was, so I'm going to, I think I called it password check.pl right there. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that because I have no shame. All right. Alright, so that's going to execute that, but we haven't passed it a variable. Alright, this is something new. We haven't talked about variables before. Basically what we do is we pipe $, the variable name that we're going to pass, which we got right here. This is our variable that we set. And there you go. So now it's going to run that application with that variable as the password.
So it's pretty much exactly when, as John typed it earlier, where he typed password check.pl and then he actually put the argument right behind it. It's the same exact thing. This is just putting the code in behind it for us.
So basically, I'm going to run 700.4 or 700 priority 4, and then I'm going to say go to if, which is a new command. And then the variable allowed, and allowed, if you remember, gets passed from the AGI script. Okay? If allowed is equal to false, meaning they didn't authenticate correctly, we're going to go to 4,000. Otherwise, we're going to go to priority 5. And that like that. All right. So then, we're just going to can something, and we'll add a menu in a second here. Playback GT equals my favorite one. We also have to make another one called 700, 4,000, we're going to playback valid, and then we're also going to play back VM- type. This will make a lot more sense when Tony makes the test call.
Pretty much what we're doing is we're calling individually the different prompts that Allison's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So Invalid is one of her prompts, it's just a single word. Password is just a single word. So right now we're calling invalid password Allison, and then we're going to play back one more. It's a predefined one that's already there.
And we're going to shoot her back to 700, priority 1. Alright. So, just double check to make sure that everything looks good here. So we're going to background the sound that says, I haven't included it yet. I haven't included it yet, so I got to include check password. So then we background, please enter your, and she's going to say password, and she's going to wait. Now, one more interesting thing that you can do here that I'm just going to throw in, since we just happen to make our passwords be 4 characters, you can type the number 4, or simpler, use the comma, because that's what we used before. And what that does, that expects 4 digits, so you don't actually have to hit the pound key when you're done. It actually automatically skips to the next priority. So I'm not going to put that in here right now, but just keep in mind you can do that if you expect all of your passwords to be 4 characters. We don't expect that in ours. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we call our passwordcheck.pl with the variable of pass, which we set right there. Then after that, it does a go to if. Let's make sure that our syntax is right. We got to have a starting parenthesis needs an end parenthesis, and a starting bracket needs an end bracket. So we've got a starting parenthesis with a $sign, starting bracket, quote. I mean, this looks pretty good. And it's with a question mark. The question mark is basically if the what you're checking there is true, or the what's in the false box, what it equals. If this is true, meaning in our case, if passwordcheck.pl passes back the word false in the allowed variable, then we're going to go to 4,000. Otherwise, we're going to go to invalid voicemail or invalid password, and then it's going to flip it back to 1. Another thing I want to add in here, extend 706 count. So that way we're sure that it works. So we go to asterisk, that's our reload. And Tony's going to call 700. All right.
Okay.
So that means I typed in the password variable wrong. So varlib asterisk sounds. Huh. Oh, I got them backwards, that's why. So I put them backwards inside of, so basically, I accidentally did this backwards. The password is before what it says, so you go ahead and dial 700 again, Tony.
Please enter your password.
So if Tony enters an invalid password,
9999.
That option is invalid. Please try again. Password. Please enter your password. Windows has eaten our phone system.
So there I've entered a correct password, which then passed it on to our comment that we said, which was VM, or not VM, but just
TT-weasels.
TT-weasels,
So,
which is favorites.
Allison didn't really have a good, invalid password prompt, so I just grabbed a prompt. So, I mean, you could probably clean this up by either hiring Allison to make some more recordings, or
Doing your own.
make your own recordings.
Get Audacity, record your own, you're set to go.
Yep, we can use socks to convert them. I can show you how to do that actually. We'll maybe save that for later.
That might be another episode.
Okay, so basically, this does absolutely nothing for us, but it gets a starting point. So basically, let's build a quick menuing system to do just a couple of stupid things that you can do other ways. But it'll give you an idea on how a menuing system actually works.
What it looks like as well.
Yep, how it works. So, alright, so I'm just going to leave this alone. In fact, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to say, right there, 4000, go to 1. So there, it won't sound so crappy then. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do some more canned Allison. And I'm going to get lazy because everybody knows what I'm doing now because we've gone over this every episode. It's pretty easy to figure out exactly what I'm going to have it say here, mostly because it's in the show notes and because it kind of actually reads out as I'm typing.
If you actually looked at your code and if it looks wrong when you're saying it out loud, it's probably not going to sound right either.
Voicemail. My system. Okay, we're going to throw a wait in here, so that way they get a chance to, they get a chance to, wait. So that way it's not like just hitting them really hard with all these canned recordings that are hard to understand. And we're going to do 700, come on, 10, come on. I don't know why I'm typing, because I got it on the clipboard. Okay, press 2. Give me a couple of them. 2. Now, the next line that I type makes absolutely no sense when you listen to it, but it was the closest I could find without having to record my own voice. So, enter extension of person. And what we actually do here instead of a playback is we do a read, and I'm backwards once again, so I need to make sure that the variable is before the sound. So it's going to put whatever they type in for end of the extension of the person, Okay. All right. Then we do a couple more go-to ifs. I'm going to get really freaking lazy here. Copy this. Paste it. I'm going to say menu choice. Menu choice equals 1. I want to go to 6,000. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the next in my context, which is, I'm just going to put 14. Okay, so I'm just going to paste that. We have menu choice equals 2. And we're going to go, that's going to take us to 7,000 if it's true, if they did press 2. Otherwise, it's going to send us into 15. Okay, and we put in what I like to refer to as a hidden option, called option 3, which takes us to context 7,000, or takes us to priority 7,000. That's 3. And what that's going to do is give you the ability to reboot your computer over the phone. Probably not recommended, but
But as you know, we didn't. As you can tell from what we've typed, we didn't do a playback, like, as in to reboot machine,
yeah.
which isn't a default by Allison.
I looked.
Yeah,
it wasn't there.
We could probably make one, give it to you guys, but it'd be John and my voice, so that'd be bad.
Yeah, record your own.
Yeah, because Allison and me, that's weird.
All right, and basically, we go down, and if they hit something else other than 3, I want to send them back to 5, and 5 gives them the menu again because they don't know what they're doing. All right, so now you go down a little bit to extend 700, 8,000, we'll just do 8,000 first because I started typing that. But 8,000 would be if they hit option 3. And this only works if Asterisk is running as root, or the person that's running Asterisk has a set UID on reboot. It's not recommended. I wouldn't recommend you doing a set UID on reboot, but whatever.
We're just doing this for something example to show you that you can do that.
Yep. Extend.
It could be something as simple as accessing voicemail or something else to that effect.
Yep. 7,000. And now, if you remember number 2, it said to enter the extension of the person you'd like to reach. So we're going to read the variable, which is ext, and we're going to say if you. This is nice. If you know extension dial comma ext. If I actually type all this in right, I'm going to be so impressed. I didn't type it in right there. What am I doing? That's right. It's the variable in front of the sound. Alright, so basically it's going to shoot us into 7,000. Say if you know the extension of the person you'd like to reach, dial it now. Okay? So extend 700. We're just going to assume that they're going to use SIP to dial it out. Because, actually, before we do that, let's make sure they didn't enter nothing. And we're going to use a go to if. And we are going to copy and paste again. And if, basically, if they've entered nothing, we're going to send them back to 7,000. So, if ext equals nothing, send them to 7,000. Otherwise, send them to 7,002. Okay. Say 7,002. We're going to dial SIP / variable. And when they're all done talking, let's make sure that we pass them to the right area, which will be 700, 7,003, Alright, you could also at this point send them back to the menu, but it's probably kind of pointless, or maybe you want to. It's all to you. Alright, next one we're going to do is if they press 1, we're going to send them into the voicemail system. So we're going to say voicemail main. And we're also going to make sure that at the end, hang on. And this will probably break, but let's give it a shot here. Go ahead, Tony.
Please enter your password. Press 1 for your voicemail system. Press 2.
Oh,
Nope.
we have an invalid 2 WAV file. It said press 2, but it didn't say 2. It's because I think 2 is in the digits folder. Var spool asterisk. Actually, it's var lib asterisk sounds digits. For some reason, this version of Asterisk doesn't have 2 in it. So we are just going to nuke that. It's okay.
It'll sound different.
It'll sound wrong, but basically we're going to nuke it because we don't want to delete that context and we got to change everything. Alright, go ahead, Tony.
Please enter your password. Press 1 for your voicemail system. Press 2.
Now, for some reason this be a completely full install of Asterisk, like the box that I did it on. Asterisk sounds. Picture. Maybe I just typed it wrong. Let's double check that here. Picture extent of person. I probably typed something wrong. I was typing it wrong. That's right. Oh, I think I did. One more time, Tony.
Okay.
It's worked perfect this time.
Please enter your password.
I've been entering 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we put in the in the database.
Press 1 for your voicemail system. Press 2. Enter the extension of the person you are trying to reach.
So now it's waiting for us to enter something. So go ahead and press 1, Tony, followed by the pound sign.
Immediate mail. Mailbox.
So now he's in his voicemail. Go ahead and hang up, Tony.
Yeah, because I don't have the mailbox.
Doesn't have the mailbox set up. So go ahead and dial back in.
Please enter your password. Press 1 for your voicemail system. Press 2. Enter the extension of the person you are trying to reach.
So go ahead and press 2. Pound.
If you know the extension of the party you wish to reach, dial it now.
There you go.
So
You could dial it. We don't have that set up though.
Yeah.
So, but there's a simple example of how a menu system works. You can get more complex, and you can do it right on your first try.
yeah, and it's you can just make one something as simple as just to read it off.
Yep.
And for your own voicemail, if you want to set up how your voicemail sounds, I mean, you could actually take your current voicemail menuing system, look at that, go in there and edit the sounds. You could use your voice. So if you don't want to say comedian mail,
Right.
you can say Joe Blow's mail or whatever you want it to be. So
All right, let's go on to the meat and potatoes.
we're going to move on to the piece de resistance.
Yeah. So the free G729 codec. Tony and I have been using this for a few days. I've been using it for a little bit longer, and it works freaking awesome.
No longer do you have to pay $10 for your codec.
$10 license. All right, so basically I make a folder called free G729, and I'm going to go back to my show notes here and pull out the location to download. Now I've only tested this with these applications, so it may not work for you if you. And I also haven't tested it with the new with it's Asterisk 1.2.10 just came out, or whatever it is that just came out. I haven't tested it with there, but I assume it should work. So the first thing we download, if I type wget first, is the speech coding. The next one takes forever, but that's okay because we're going to go and do other things while this is downloading. It's, this one's the big guy. Copy. Wget. Paste it. Yeah. Make sure it gets started here. Alright, this puppy is, I think 130 meg or something like that, so we got time. Alright, so we need to go to the Intel page and sign up for an account and get a license number. I've already done this, but I'm going to do it again.
Under a new account.
Well, you don't have to. I've already tested it doing it the same, but so you go download. Actually, just go to intel.com. Actually, the easiest way would be go to Google and type Intel IPB. That should hopefully take you to the better site. And if not, we'll go to intel.com. It is harder than heck to find the download spot. In fact, if I go back to my show notes,
Which is how it usually is when it comes to something free.
I've actually taken the time to paste the link of where to download it inside of the show notes.
I also suggest that you take time to go through the Intel site and search around for the actual legal text towards what the licensing is, because we're not guaranteeing what we're saying is 100% correct. We just know you can't use it if you're using it for money, or if you make money from using it at all. So for education and stuff like that, guys look into it because we void all warranty towards what you said on this.
Alright, so I'm going to use my email address, which I hope still works. And we go down to
Somewhere. Not quite.
yeah, it's spelled. It's dumb they did USA, not United States.
Yeah.
Alright, and where did you hear about us? Blah, 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 blah. Alright, submit.
See, now you can say other in Asterikast.
Alright, so now, with all luck, if Microsoft Outlook works, I don't know if that'll work. You can move that screen, alright.
Yeah.
Log in. And this screen as well. Or at least some of it if you could.
Yeah.
And then you'll have an email in your inbox. Nice. With the license right there. Okay? So we go ahead and we save link as. We'll just go ahead and save it in the red folder. You can just get that screen right.
Yeah.
Alright. So there. So now I've got the license downloaded in the red folder. Piece of cake. I'm sure the download's still going, but we're not done yet. Alright, so we're going to make dir / opt intel, and it's actually make dir -p opt intel licenses. Enter. Then we're going to then we've got the license already here, so we're going to cp ncom whatever to opt intel licenses. What that'll do is I think it needs the license to actually compile the codec, so that's all we're doing. We got a couple more applications we need to download. If I can go back to my show notes. Did I close my show notes?
You just go back to the first tab and go backwards.
Oh,
Yeah.
alright. Alright, so I'm gonna skip a couple of steps here and go ahead and download the guys who wrote the patch for the G729 codec and the G723 codec. We're not going to concentrate on the G723 codec. You can pretty much figure out how to do it yourself. Alright, so we got the IPP diff, which still isn't right. We got it later on. We go and fix it. We'll also, while we're in here, go ahead and download the Asterikast build script, which is right up here, right there, new build.sh. wget new build.sh. And we're almost done downloading. That worked out pretty good. Almost done. So basically what makes G729 different than everything else, I can finish that up while this is downloading. G729 is an extremely compressed codec, but it still sounds awesome. So you can I think it's like 8 kilobits or something like that is all it uses. I think that includes packet overhead, and it works awesome. I think that's the default codec in Skype, so it's rocking. All right.
Now that it's free, I mean, we may not recommend it so much to use it before because you have to pay $10 a license for it.
Right.
But now that it's free and we're showing you how to install it, there's absolutely no reason you wouldn't want to use this.
Right, unless you're making money.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to go ahead and untar L, IPP, I-832, Itanium. Now, even though this says Itanium, just ignore it. Tony's running, as I can show you.
AMD, Thunderbird.
Yeah, he's running, it's an Athlon, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and tar, XVF, L_IPP right there. And this takes a second. Doesn't take too long, but it's pretty big, so it does take a second. And come on, baby. All right, so we're done. So we go CL IPP BU 4.1.2.003. All right. So we've got two things in there. We've got an install file and an IPP_license. You run install. Now, if your license is installed incorrectly, this will fail. And then you'll know it failed because it said that it failed. Alright, so we're going to press 1 to go ahead and install. And we see there that it's going to install the files in temp, IPP32 Itanium. This is important because running this on Slackware, it will fail. This part will fail, but we need it to make the RPMs to actually go in that directory. So, I got to read the license agreement and hit spacebar to skip a screen at a time.
Oh, we're putting this through fast motion, so we actually were reading it.
Yeah, we were reading it.
We've read this previously to this screen.
All right, so what's happening now is it's basically extracting an RPM, and why it's looking all gay like this is because
Intel?
No, because we're running VNC, and VNC doesn't handle the screen refreshes. We're using SWF. What is it called? VNC to SWF to capture the screen.
Yeah, the first episode, as you all plentifully complained about how horrible the screen was, that was what we call VGA to
VCR.
VCR, then VCR into Firewire, and then that was compressed, hence really bad quality. So yeah, this works really good.
Yeah.
And we are planning a brief reshoot of episode 1. By brief, I mean we'll go through the install real quick. We're not going to sit down and make everything like we did last one, but we'll go through the basics of how to install Asterisk using this VNC to SWF.
Right, and we're going to try to get maybe that done before DEF CON.
Yep.
We'll see how fast Tony gets the editing done on this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we're going to DEF CON too.
Yeah, so
we didn't mention that. And hopefully we'll have some T-shirts for sale.
$10.
$10. Well, not this time.
It's gonna be more than that?
Yeah, they're more expensive than that this first time. Sorry about that.
No, we haven't made shirts yet.
Yeah, they're gonna be about $15, I think. And we'll have. If you're a bigger guy like me, get there. If you see us, walk up to us, say hi, whatever. We'll be wandering around. If you want a T-shirt, I'll have some in my backpack all day. If you're a bigger guy like me, you might want to be the first one to get there because we're only going to have one XXL shirt. If you're wearing extra larges, you're probably going to be set. Larges we'll have a couple of, but I'm not sure about mediums.
You probably don't have any mediums or smalls.
No.
So you probably get an extra large and you can cut it off if you want.
Yeah, there you go. But we're only going to have 12 of them. And we're taking 2 of them. So there'll only be 10 available for use.
Alright, so our RPM failed like I said it would. This is not a big deal. So go ahead and press enter to continue. And it's going to ask you if you want to install it or exit. We want to exit. And our codec is located in CD temp, IPP32, whatever. It's right there. Alright, so we want to install this. Now, since we're running Slackware, we need to be a little tricky with it. Otherwise, it won't install. We're going to say no deps. So RPM minus I, which means install. H, which I don't know what the hell that means. And V means verbose. Oh, H stands for show hashes, I think. So it'll actually show the little hashes as it installs. Alright, no deps. So, and no deps means it doesn't do a dependency check to make sure you have other RPMs installed. Alright. As you can see, I already have it installed, so it doesn't worry about reinstalling it. It's going to do the exact same things that we just did. All right, so we're going to go back to the root, free G729. Okay, and we need to untar our LIPP, whatever the hell it is. TXBF L_IPP dash sample coding right there. Alright. We're going to go to speech coding. We're going to go to, and we do a patch. What this does is it goes in and the IPP patch will change the samples to fit so it fits the Asterisk style. And it's 2 directories back. There. It kind of fixed everything, but not really. So now we have to go to the G729 float directory, because that's what we use. And then VM include sys. Alright, so we've got this VM underscore types underscore limit 32. This took me forever to figure this out. So the thinking's already been done for you, and you can tell me thank you at DEFCON.
Buy us alcohol.
Buy us alcohol. That would be awesome. Alright, so basically what we do is we comment this line, and I am not a C coder, just like I'm not a perl coder. Thread handle. I'm going to go ahead and do mutex. Fine. 3751. So we're at line 37. Go to line 51 right there. Let me go ahead and comment out that pthread mutex handle. What this exactly does, I don't know. I just had to figure out how to do it. I think that's the last one. 58. 57 and 58. Alright, and that will take care of that. So we go back 3 directories, so we're in the G729 float directory. We want to go and edit the make file, because we're not going to use this make file for what it's defaulted to. It's defaulted to Pentium 4, and we're not going to use that because we have a different optimization flag that we use. And we are also going to copy the build script that I created. It's called new-build. See right here. We're going to edit new-build just so I can show you that this line is wrong and I need to copy in the right line. Basically, I use the Asterisk optimizations when I built the codec, which is right here. So just copy this line right out of there. Plus it names it correctly, so you don't have to worry about copying it. So go ahead and don't, unless you're running the compiler the Intel compiler, don't do anything down past here because yeah, it's based on the Intel compiler. I'm gonna change this to wide instead. Because okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paste it right there. And I don't even worry about what this does. If you just copy it, it'll work. So we change mod plus x on new-build.sh / new-build.sh. Nice. Let's see what happened here. Oh, I screwed up on my when I was commenting out code. I messed up. So VM include sys. I didn't make a patch for this for the simple reason that this code could possibly be copyrighted, and so me making a patch is not a good idea. I think it's this line I forgot. Because I don't want to get sued.
So Intel, if you're watching this, which you're not, and you decide that it's okay for us to write a patch, you can email either Tony at Asterikast.com or John at Asterikast.com, and we'll gladly get one for you.
Alright, new-build.sh. compile it. And it still fails. Why didn't it fail this time? That's messed up. Let's make sure that I got all the right lines commented out. Yeah. Because if I got one line commented out wrong, it will fail. Like I said, this took me a long time to get this right, so okay, we don't comment on line 30. Which I think it was complaining about not having this handled there. So let me check the notes. Yeah, that's the problem right there. Alright, I'm feeling good now. Alright, coder's done. Now there's a bin folder right here. There's a file in there called codec underscore G729A.SL, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that to var, or actually user lib asterisk modules. Okay, you're going to do, I recommend doing an asterisk minus R, stop now, takes a second, save, asterisk minus R. You can do a show codecs. And right there you see there's a G729A audio codec. So basically, it's as easy as that to install it. The hardest part is making sure that you get the correct lines commented out of that VM underscore types underscore Linux 32.h. And maybe just to make sure that we're all on the same page there, let's make sure we know exactly what line number we're going to comment out. If I was in the right folder. Alright, so we got, so we start at line 36, I think. 36, 37 get commented out. 51 gets commented out. 57, 58.
And that's it.
And that's it. Now, if you go to asterikast.com, is it /downloads? Yeah, asterikast.com/downloads. It'll take you right to the page where you can asterikast.com/download, or just go to asterikast.com, click on the downloads link, click on episode 3, and it'll be the only download link under episode 3. We will be placing the G729 codec out there. I have one out there, but it wasn't compiled for the right processor. So another optimization flag, so it may break. It hasn't broke yet, but it may break. So basically, I think that we've covered what we...
Yeah, we're going to do this episode. So we look forward to more... Oh,
I forgot one thing.
What's that?
How do you actually implement the G729 codec?
Good call. That's how you use your codec.
That's how. Yeah,
we don't care if it sounds good. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Figure it out yourself.
Okay.
Do you think this is a help show?
Go to the Asterisk folder. We get it sip.conf, and we only have one phone in here. And right now he's set to allow equals ULA. We're going to go allow equals G729. And Tony, while I'm doing this, is going to get me the IP off of his phone.
Yes, I am.
Which is 192.168.254.134 of that.
Correct.
And we type admin.
These phones can be tricky.
Yeah, these
With
Grand Stream phones.
Yeah.
Buy something else. Date.
But if you don't have any money, the Grand Stream 486.
Then just use
works
regular
pretty good.
phones.
Yeah.
Don't use Grand Screen. Alright, let's make sure that. Let's make sure the phone goes ahead and syncs back up here. Not yet. Sometimes that latest firmware that Grand Stream put out, it seems like sometimes the phone takes a really long time to reboot. Not reboot so much as actually connect. And it's a distinct possibility that this phone won't connect. And there it is. Registered the phone. So now Tony should be able to dial 600 or anything, 700 even.
Please enter your password.
The codec is converting between GSM and G729 now.
Yep.
If you hadn't have paid for the codec, it wouldn't do the codec conversion, it just would do pass-through. So it's actually converting between. There are a couple of more utilities in the free G729 folder. In the IPP underscore sample speech coding. G729 float in the bin folder. There's a you can actually go and convert sounds from GSM or from ULAW to G729. We're not going to go into that. If you need more information, like from the show notes, you can go to the homepage where the patch is from. The homepage is readytechnology.co.uk, and I'll just pop them up here really quick so that way you can all see it. readytechnology.co.uk/. This connects. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. And we click on G729, and it should take us to the page right there. So here's the homepage, readytechnology.com / open IPP codecs G729, G723. Yeah.
That's short URL for you today.
Yeah, but he has all the information. Unfortunately, as I found out, some of his steps become incorrect with the latest version of Asterisk or the later versions of Asterisk. So, you just follow my steps and they'll get compiled at least up to version 1.2.9.1. So, anyways, I think that about covers.
That should do her for a while.
I think that I've said everything that I need to say.
So you can look forward to another episode of Asterikast. I'm assuming that won't be till after mid to late August. Like we said again, we're going to DEF CON this year. We'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Look for us at the barbecue. I think we're planning on going to the.
We might be at the Talks barbecue. We'll be at a lot of the talks. Otherwise, you'll see us walking around.
Hey, if you're planning on going to DEF CON and you're interested in maybe buying a shirt, why don't you just shoot us an email? I'll shoot Tony an email, probably would be better.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get you on a list or something.
Tony@asterikast.com.
Tony@asterikast.com.
We'll be staying at the
Riviera. Yep.
We're actually in the hotel. We're not giving our hotel rooms, but we'll actually be at the hotel. So if you want to get together or something like that, give us an email, and we'll try to get you shirts too. So.